It all started with a dare, one we should have refused, but in that moment, the thrill of the unknown was too tempting to resist. The note was passed around in the flickering shadows, each of us reading the challenge scrawled in hurried handwriting. Our hearts pounded with a mix of excitement and dread, and though we tried to laugh it off, the tension in the air was unmistakable. Around a crackling bonfire deep in the woods, Liam leaned in, his face half lit by the flames, and began spinning tales of Blackwood Forest. He described it as the most haunted place in the country, a place where people vanished and strange lights flickered between the trees. The firelight danced across our faces as we listened, spellbound and uneasy, the night air thick with anticipation. With a sly grin, Liam dared us to go there that very night, to prove we weren't just talk. He said only the truly brave, or the truly foolish, would accept. The challenge hung between us, daring someone to back down, but none of us wanted to be the first to show fear. Despite our bravado, unease flickered in everyone's eyes. The laughter faded as we piled into the car, the reality of what we were about to do settling in. The headlights cut through the darkness, but the forest ahead seemed to swallow the light whole. The drive was silent, the darkness outside growing heavier as we left the city behind. Every mile took us further, from safety, deeper, into the unknown. The only sounds were the hum of the engine, and the occasional nervous cough. No one wanted to admit it, but we were all scared. At the forest's edge, a rusted sign warned us to keep out, its letters barely visible in the gloom. The trees loomed overhead, their branches tangled like grasping fingers, blocking out the moon and making the air colder than before. It felt as if the forest itself was daring us to enter, testing our resolve. Pride and curiosity pushed us forward, even as every instinct screamed to turn back. The silence was so complete it pressed against our ears, broken only by the crunch of gravel beneath our shoes. This was our last chance to turn back, but none of us did. We exchanged nervous glances, each silently daring the others to be the first to retreat. But the pull of the dare, the need to prove ourselves, was stronger than our fear. We grabbed our flashlights and stepped into the oppressive silence, the beams barely piercing the darkness. With every step, the world behind us faded, and the secrets of Blackwood Forest waited ahead, ready to test our courage in ways we never imagined. The moment we crossed that sign, the world changed. The silence was suffocating. No animals, no wind, just our footsteps echoing too loud. The forest felt alive, hostile, as if we were trespassing inside something ancient and malevolent. Shadows twisted at the edge of our vision, and every tree looked the same, trapping us in a labyrinth. Our bravado faded, replaced by raw, primal fear. The air grew colder, tinged with a metallic scent. We pressed on, knowing we were being watched. Maya stumbled upon the first note, a child's drawing, rough and unsettling, showing a faceless, impossibly tall figure in a black suit. The paper was tacked to a gnarled tree deep in the woods, its edges fluttering in the cold wind. The image was haunting, but what truly sent chills down her spine was the sense that this was more than just a child's imagination. It felt like a warning, a desperate attempt to communicate something unspeakable. Scrawled beneath the drawing in shaky handwriting were the words, "Don't look, or it takes you." The message was simple, but the urgency in the letters made it feel like a last plea from someone who had seen too much. As Maya and Liam pressed deeper into the forest, more notes appeared, each one more frantic and desperate than the last. Some were barely legible, written in hurried, trembling script. Always watches, no eyes, can't run. The trees seemed to close in around them, each trunk hiding another warning, another piece of the puzzle. The legend of Slenderman, once just a creepy story whispered online, suddenly felt terrifyingly real in this place. The air was thick with dread, and every shadow seemed to move. These weren't harmless pranks, or urban legends brought to life for a thrill. These were genuine warnings, left by people who had been here before, people who might never have made it out. Then, Maya found the last note, a diary page, its ink still fresh, the paper unweathered by rain or time. The words were scrawled in a hurried, fearful hand. "He is here. If you are reading this, It's too late. The realization hit hard. Someone had left this message recently, maybe only hours before. The sense of being watched grew stronger, as if the forest itself was alive and aware of their presence. It dawned on them that they weren't just investigating a story. They were stepping straight into the heart of someone else's nightmare. The forest felt like a living trap, every path twisting back on itself, every sound amplified by fear. The deeper they went, the more it felt like they were being hunted, drawn in by the legend itself. Liam, who had started the journey with bravado and skepticism, now looked over his shoulder with wide, terrified eyes. The confidence was gone, replaced by a primal fear. In that moment, the Slenderman legend wasn't just a myth. It was a presence, stalking them through the darkness, and they realized they might not be alone in these woods after all. Chloe's flashlight flickered, then died, plunging her into darkness. One by one, our lights failed. First mine, then Liam's, until only Ben and Maya had weak beams left. The darkness pressed in, alive and suffocating. It felt deliberate, as if something was stripping away our defenses. We huddled together, senses straining, the metallic tang in the air growing stronger. The last two lights sputtered and died. We were swallowed by absolute blackness. And we were not alone. Panic erupted in the darkness. We called out just to hear each other's voices. Then a low hum vibrated through the ground, a sound that felt ancient and wrong. A flash of static lit the woods, and we saw it. Impossibly tall, faceless, dressed in black. The image burned into our minds. Ben muttered, "It's not real," but we all knew it was. Another flash, closer now. The Slender Man didn't move. He simply was, defying logic. The hum intensified, pain lancing through my head. The terror was no longer just physical. It was inside our minds. The static flashed again. The figure was closer. Liam broke, screaming and running blindly into the woods. We heard his footsteps, then a sudden shocked cry, then nothing. He was gone, erased without a trace. We called for him, but only the hum answered. Another note appeared. A drawing of the faceless man leading a stick figure away. One down. The flashlight died again, plunging us back into darkness. Liam hadn't escaped. He'd been taken. Terror shattered us. Ben tried to lead Chloe away, but we were lost in the dark. Suddenly Chloe whimpered. Something had her leg. In a flash we saw a long black arm wrapped around her ankle, pulling her toward a tree. She screamed, a sound of pure agony. Then silence. Another flash. Chloe and Ben were gone, vanished without a trace. Only her torn trainer remained. The silence that followed was absolute. Maya and I stood alone, the hum drilling into our skulls. 3 friends gone, erased in moments. It was just the 2 of us now. Maya and I ran, driven by pure survival instinct. The forest fought us, branches clawed, roots tripped, the hum chased us. I heard Maya fall. I turned back despite every instinct. In the next flash, Slenderman stood over her. Our eyes met one last time. Her terror was absolute. Darkness. Then, she was gone. He turned toward me, flooding my mind with static and screaming faces. I ran, bursting out of the trees and collapsing by the "Keep Out" sign. I had made it out. I was alone. I don't remember driving home. The road was a blur, headlights slicing through the fog, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly my knuckles ached. Every mile felt like a fever dream. The world outside the windows warped and shifting, as if reality itself was trying to keep me from leaving that place. I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see something, someone, lurking in the back seat, but there was only darkness, thick and suffocating. The sun rose on a world that felt wrong. The light was pale, sickly, barely pushing back the shadows that clung to the trees. Even the birds seemed hesitant to sing, as if they sensed something unnatural had crossed over with me. I stood outside, breathing in the cold morning air, but it didn't clear my head. Instead, it carried a faint metallic taste, like blood or old coins. The police didn't believe me. They listened, but their eyes said it all. Disbelief, suspicion, maybe even pity. My story sounded impossible, even to me. I tried to explain, but the words caught in my throat, tangled and desperate. They asked about my friends, about what happened in the woods, but how could I tell them the truth when I barely understood it, myself? My friends were declared missing. Their faces stared back at me from posters taped to telephone poles and pinned to bulletin boards. Their names echoed in news reports and whispered conversations. The search parties combed the forest, but I knew they wouldn't find anything. Not anything human anyway. I couldn't tell their families the truth. I saw the hope fade from their eyes, replaced by grief and confusion. They asked me what happened, begged for answers, but all I could offer were apologies and silence. The guilt gnawed at me, a constant ache in my chest. The haunting followed me home. I can't sleep. I see him everywhere. Every shadow in my house seems to move. Every creak of the floorboards makes my heart race. At night I hear whispers just beyond the edge of hearing, and sometimes I catch a glimpse of him in the corner of my eye, tall and impossibly thin, watching. Electronics die around me. Static flickers on screens. Lights dim and surge without warning. My phone rings with calls from numbers I don't recognize, and when I answer, there's only a low humming static on the other end. Radios turn on by themselves, playing distorted voices that sound almost familiar, his silhouette in the noise. Sometimes, when the static is thickest, I see his shape flicker across the screen, a twisted shadow, impossible to focus on, but unmistakably there. It's as if he's trying to reach through to remind me that I'm never alone. He's always watching, reminding me I never truly escaped. I feel his gaze on me heavy and cold, even in crowded places. I look over my shoulder constantly, but he's never where I expect. He's in the reflections, in the spaces between heartbeats, in the silence that falls when everyone else leaves the room. I survived the forest, but not the encounter. My body made it out, but something inside me didn't. I'm a shell, haunted by memories that don't feel like mine, by nightmares that bleed into daylight. I wonder if I ever really left, or if part of me is still lost in those woods. He let me go, but never let me leave. The humming grows louder. It's in the walls, in the pipes, in the spaces between words. Sometimes it's so loud I can't think, can't breathe. It drowns out everything else, a constant reminder that he's still here, still waiting. The glimpses are more frequent. I see him in mirrors, in windows, in the shimmer of puddles after rain. He's always just out of reach, but always closer than I want to believe. Each sighting leaves me colder, more certain that he's closing in. I write this as a warning. Do not seek him out. Curiosity is a trap, and the truth is a curse. If you hear the humming, if you see the static, turn away. Don't look for answers. Some doors once opened can never be closed. If you look for him, he will look for you. The forest is only the beginning. He can find you anywhere. Your home, your dreams, your thoughts. Once you know about him, he knows about you. He is an idea that grows, a story that becomes real. The more you think about him, the stronger he gets. He feeds on fear, on belief, on the stories we tell ourselves in the dark. He is the shadow at the edge of every nightmare. Even now, as you read this, he's already behind you. You might not see him yet, but you'll feel him soon, the chill on your neck, the flicker in the corner of your eye. Remember, some stories never end, and now, you're part of